Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Ite Namani.
It's 1971, the year I was initiated, and my husband and I went to Boston from Atlanta for my initiation, and Prabhupada was there. And before the initiation, he had a class with all the devotees present, and he asked, "What are the 10 offenses?" So Jadurani raised her hand, and she said, "Well, Prabhupada, the first offense is to not blaspheme the pure devotee of the Lord." And Prabhupada checked her and said, "No." He said, "Any devotee who is sincerely chanting the holy names and trying to spread the holy names," he said, "they should not be criticized in any way." So then there, in relation to this, Prabhupada said, when one devotee asked, "Well, Prabhupada, how can we repay you?" And Prabhupada said, "Actually, the disciple cannot repay the spiritual master." He said, "But if you want to try to repay the spiritual master," he said, "you can do that by preaching." And then he explained how there's 4 ways of preaching. One can preach by his life, one can preach by example, and one can preach with his words or with money. So my understanding was that any devotee who is sincerely preaching in whatever the capacity they're wanting to preach and spread Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement, there should be no criticism. And actually the Vaishnava, he avoids any kind of criticism, but especially to criticize another Vaishnava is very much to be avoided. And so Prabhupada really wanted to illustrate that point, that we don't, not only do we not blaspheme the pure devotee, but any devotee who's sincerely trying to preach Lord Chaitanya's movement and spread the holy names should not be criticized.
So at that time in South America, what had happened was Hanuman had been, he was our, at least my first experience of a sannyasi who left that order and took Grihastha ashram. So that was like major at the time. And because he had been in Argentina preaching, and that's where Sita and Jagajivan had been, and so Sita and Jagajivan were my friends, and then he had trouble with them, therefore I immediately, just like it said in Prahlad's story, friends and enemies, I just immediately identified with my friends, and this person is not my friend because he's not friends with my friends. Anyway, so I had an attitude, I admit. And so he says, Prabhupada, should we put a picture of Jesus Christ on our altar? You said he was our guru. Should we put a picture of Jesus Christ on our altar and worship him? Prabhupada said, I have not said that. I have not said that. And then he asked another question. He asked, and this was, okay, just to get you focused in on the time, this was before Chaitanya Charitamrita had been published, so we had heard some of the stories, but we weren't so familiar with all of the stories. So he said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I want to know if you've rejected me, just like Lord Chaitanya rejected Chota Haridas. So there I am in the back of the room thinking, now Prabhupada's really going to give it to him, and he's going to get really the sauce for all the trouble that he's caused and all the anxiety. I'm really glad he asked that question because no one else could give it to him like Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, no, I have not rejected you. He said, Lord Chaitanya was God, and he can spread this movement all around the world, all by himself, but I am not God. And I am totally dependent on you for the help that you've given me. And I was like floored just to see how compassionate and how much love Srila Prabhupada had for all of us.
So my at the time husband, he was Kanu Priyadas. He went and studied astrology in London for about 6 months. And when he came back, he began doing astrology charts for devotees. And he decided that he should go and ask Srila Prabhupada's opinion about it. So he went up and he asked Prabhupada. He said, Prabhupada, I learned some astrology and I want to know, is it okay? Can I do charts for devotees? And Prabhupada asked him, oh, you're doing astrology. So can you tell me, when will the date be? We will buy our new building for the New York temple. And of course he said, no, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, that is because you have to study Hori astrology. He said, that's mathematics, and it takes at least 10 years to learn it. He said, my Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he was very learned astrologer, and he was the last bona fide living astrologer on this planet. So he said, with doing astrology charts for devotees, you can sometimes see the future. He said, but our philosophy is, whatever will be, will be. We simply chant, Hare Krishna. So best you do not do astrology charts for devotees, because they will start worshiping astrology and forget about Krishna.
And then finally, Prabhupada comes to Delhi from Vrindavan. And I was cooking for Prabhupada. And, well, before the cooking, I have to tell you how I dressed the deities, because there was a fan that went right on the deities. And I don't know what I was thinking of. I was thinking, oh, you know, I don't want Krishna's peacock feather to fall, or this or that, or the hair. So I moved the fan off the deities to the side. And Prabhupada came like 10 o'clock in the morning. He offered his obeisances, and he walked through the temple room, by the kitchen, the courtyard, and then his room was there. And the first thing Prabhupada says is, Krishna is feeling hot. And I thought, oh my God, how does Prabhupada know, you know? He said something about the fan isn't cooling or something. And so he gave a whole lecture on Krishna, the deity, is Krishna himself. And as soon as I could, I put the fan back on Krishna. And I realized, you know, Krishna is personally present with Prabhupada and speaks with him and tells him things. And, you know, it was a real eye-opener for me. Jai Anilo Premadana Karuna Prachu. Prachu.